Okay, everyone. I've mentioned before what the allegation against me is, from my time working as a bouncer at the Magic Lantern, and what the bartender, who was in the process of getting fired, alleged to have happened. I've talked about this in the motion to dismiss, but that was a 3+ hour video, and I doubt that any of you had the time or patience to listen to that, motion to dismiss, me reading that. So, in this video right here, I'm going to talk about what was alleged. I'm also going to show you some paperwork, and I want you to actually think about it yourself and think, is this actually something that could have happened? Like, physically could have happened. Because if you want, you guys could actually try this at home just to see if it's even physically able to happen. And I want you to take in consideration that the person who made this allegation was a bartender and had a drinking and drug problem and needed money. They also have a history of making false allegations against people in order to get money, including lighting their own car on fire for an insurance fraud, which they actually got a felony. They actually got convicted of a felony on that case of staging a home invasion, home robbery, home burglary, and lying to the police about the home burglary and lighting their car on fire. So they are a convicted felon on that. And they are a hard, I'm not talking about marijuana, I'm talking about hard drugs. They are a drug addict as well. So, first off, about 2 or 3 weeks prior to the false allegation, this person lost a handful of shifts a week as a bartender at the Magic Lantern, a strip club. They were a bartender, and they lost all their shifts except for a one daytime shift during the week. I think it was like a Tuesday or Wednesday. This bar, strip club, was completely dead. It was a ghost town most nights. During the daytime, completely dead. But the saving grace for this bartender, she worked Friday nights as a bartender, which is where she made most of her money a week. But she lost that because she was doing drugs, drinking, and they thought that she was also stealing money too. They believe she was from the club. So they were trying to get her to quit. Me and her were friends like for about 3 years or so while we were working together there. We hung out outside of work. We were very close. Well, after the alleged incident, she claimed to Sergeant Gasparini, the Munson Police Department, that we weren't friends and that she never wanted anything to do with me and always kept her distance. Text messages I have showed that was a lie, and she even admitted during a hearing district court, that we were friends up until that very day. And if you look at that, that's perjury alone, and she should be in jail for that. But I didn't push it at the time because I just figured it is what it is. I'm out of there now, I'm making more money, waiting tables again. And basically it just opened up my eyes to, you lay down with dogs, you get fleas, plain and simple. And she was definitely the flea that I got. Okay, so this is what she claimed. She claimed that she walked by me, and as she walked by me, and take in consideration, I'm 6 foot tall. Actually, I'm 6'1" plus, maybe 6'2", in between 6'1", 6'2". She's 5'6", I believe the medical record stated. So she's about 5'6". I'm a good 6'1". Boom, there you go. So she was wearing a dress/skirt that was form-fitted down to her knees. Thin girl. So, as she claimed to walk by me, she claimed that I went down, under, pivoted up, and she claimed I pivoted, went down, and my arm went up her skirt and went around her thong and entered her anal cavity and lifted her up 2 inches off the ground. Okay. And that she screamed and looked at me, and I was still in the crouched manner, you know, okay, like, you know, number one, like, to go down, up, and crouched under while someone's walking by you, and they're wearing a skirt/dress that's skin tight, form fitted to their body down to their knees. You know, there's maybe like this much room between the floor and the knees. You know, like, it's not even physically possible to do what she alleges to have happened. So right there, like I don't understand how I'm even facing charges on this, because clearly even what she claims to have happened, like, there's no way that it could have happened. Also, there was a Munson police officer that was off duty on that day that was actually in the Magic Lantern watching, like, he claimed Little League sports, claimed. But the thing is, this allegedly happened right under a video camera, which I knew was present, existed, and also with a police officer sitting right within, like, maybe 5 to 10 feet away. You know, who I knew was an off-duty police officer because he was a regular at the place. You know, he wrote in his statement that he heard her scream, like, "Fuck you, Jeff," or something like that. So he, like, wrote in his statement that he looked up, he heard her scream, he looked up, and he saw a surprised look on my face. Of course I'm going to have a surprised look on my face, because who wouldn't when, like, you know, someone just, like, screams at you for no reason? You know, like, this isn't easy for me to talk about, because I've always been one to believe in believing a person when they claim to be assaulted. I've always been that type of person that if someone says that they were assaulted, I believe them for the most part, unless I have a reason not to believe them. And, you know, this individual, you know, making this kind of claim, you know, like, the reason why I wasn't arrested is because the claim was completely baseless. Lieutenant Gasparini, who was a sergeant at the time, who I hear is a hard ass. That's just what I hear. I don't know the guy. I've only dealt with him, like, in relation to this incident, but I do hear he is a hard ass, that he is a stickler for, you know, everything. So if you look at it, this is about 6 years now. And I've been facing these charges since March, April, and it's December now. You know, like, I was called by the Munson Police Department by Lieutenant Gasparini and told that the only reason why I'm facing these charges is because, you know, like, Hamden County Assistant District Attorney Parsons called him up and told him to file these charges against me. And remember something. When this all allegedly went down, Sergeant Gasparini actually asked this individual for the clothing that they were wearing on the night in question. You know, claimed even that he needed her underwear, because remember, she claims that I went up and under her skirt/dress, and my finger went around her thong into her anal cavity and lifted her up 2 inches off the ground. So he told her, "I need the underwear. You know, can you please provide them to me?" Actually, first off, he's like, can I go with your friend to your apartment right now to actually get these? And she said no. And then he's like, "Well, can I go with you and get them?" She's like, "No, I'll bring them in some other time." And then she just refused to bring them in. And he even told her, "I can get skin cell DNA off of this, which will help prosecute Jeff." You know, because as soon as we get the skin cell DNA, we have him basically dead to rights. But she refused. Also, she never turned in the dress/skirt. And when you look at it, how can someone have a proper defense in a case if the dress/skirt isn't in evidence? Because I've been saying all along that this dress/skirt was skin tight and down to her knees. You know, like, if they claim that it was a mini skirt, like they're claiming now that it was a short skirt. So if you look at it, or a short dress, or whatever they're calling it a short skirt or dress. But if you look at it, if it went down to the knees, there's no way that this possible it could have occurred. But now if it's being changed to a short one, depending on how short something is, we start getting into some gray area. Because remember something, the individual has changed how long this item of clothes was several times since when they alleged that this happened. I've been claiming the same thing from the very night that I was questioned, the night that allegedly happened, about a couple hours later. The police officer that was off duty, I think he claimed it was long or something, but without the physical item, it's a he said, she said situation. Also, if the skin cells would have been collected, there would have been none because it didn't happen. Also, what has to be known too is this individual filed a lawsuit against the club a couple weeks later, a couple months later, claiming that the club retaliated against her for making the complaint against me. Well, this person claims that the club retaliated by taking her shifts away. But the problem is, it's been documented by the police department on that night in question that her shifts were taken a couple weeks before she made this allegation. So there you go right there. Is you have a person who sued the Magic Lantern claiming that their shifts were taken in retaliation to this complaint while they're in the process of being fired. It shows that this person did this for money. And once again, they lit their car on fire for money years ago. They've made other allegations in order to get quick paydays too. Plus, this person, when they sued the Magic Lantern, they claimed that they only got a couple $1,000s as a settlement. So they settled out of court for a couple $1,000s, and they actually even signed a non-disclosure agreement as part of that case, yet they're deciding to pursue this with the district attorney's office. And why, may you ask? Well, remember what I said, how this person is all about money? The place that they worked after the Magic Lantern, they also ended up getting written up for being under the influence of either drugs or alcohol. But I tell you right now, guaranteed, no doubt about it, this person is a drug addict and an alcoholic. So, they lost their... All right, where are we? Yeah, so they lost the job afterwards. And they even went to the Spencer Police Department and just, made notations on the file. One notation on the file was that they were sexually assaulted by a male employee at that business. But in my paperwork, they said that they quit right afterwards, yet in their small claims case against the business, they claimed that they had worked there a year afterwards. And I have this information because I have the copy of their small claims her small claims case against the other business, and also I have a copy of the Spencer, Massachusetts police call log showing that she made, when she made the statement about the other person. So, she claims in her victim impact statement of mine that she immediately quit the other place, when in her small claims lawsuit against the other business, she claims that she had worked there a year after that. Also, she filed a small claims case against them, claiming that they owed her maybe a little bit under $20,000. But she filed a small claims action against them for $7,000, claiming that they had stole her money because I talked to the owner, and he told me that what happened is she had to tip out a busboy. So she sued them for having to tip out an employee, which is typical in the restaurant industry. Okay, but remember something. Ask yourself this. If someone's wearing a skirt that's form-fitted down to their knees, and they're walking, and they claim someone went up and under around their thong into their anal cavity and lifted them up 2 inches off the ground, that's major. That's nothing like that's major. And remember, me and her, even like her own statement, her own words, we were friends up until that day. Anyone who, even if that was possible, doing that right there would have hurt someone, majorly hurt someone. A friend doesn't do something like that to another friend, there's no doubt about that. That would actually hurt the person. Okay. So remember, this person who's made more allegations against more people than I can even talk about right now, because there's just so many of them, going all the way back 20 years, and 15 years before, up until just recently, up until maybe last year or this year, actually up until this year, has made these kind of complaints against people. Okay, Saul. Number one, it's not even possible to happen, what is alleged. But also, if someone hurt you this bad, and this person claims to still be in pain, like that affected their sciatic nerve or something, but ask yourself this. This is the sentencing recommendation that this individual wants me to be sentenced as. There's 3 separate things. 1, treatment, counseling, minimum 1 year, minimum 2 sessions per month focused on abuse. Number 2, probation, minimum 6 months / 1 year, probably more helpful / preferred. Okay, first off, counseling. What is counseling really going to do? I've got a degree in psychology. And this is 6 years ago now. And then probation, what is probation going to do? I really don't drink. If I go out, I'll have 1 or 2 drinks. So I don't drink. I don't commit crimes. As you can see by me not facing any criminal offenses, for that 5-year period, so, what would, and this is probably more helpful / preferred. Okay, but hold on. Now we get to the fun part. Restitution. I have suffered greatly financially due to the defendant's crime. However, despite all, and especially since any monetary punishment, and it is in quotes too, is not the focus here, I am only asking for a reimbursement of my out-of-pocket medical. Okay? And her out-of-pocket medical, right, is $1,280. And it says right here that it's for massages. That this individual paid $80 4 times per month for 4 months. If you know anything about lawsuits, a lot of lawsuits actually make you hit a certain amount of money in order for you to be able to sue a person or a business for damages. $1,280 is around that amount of money to actually be able to sue someone. Also, remember something. She settled out of court with the Magic Lantern in relation to this issue for a couple $1,000s. Kind of strange, huh? That's $1,280. But also what should be noted is that she claims who she got these massages from. And the person who she got the massages from, I've actually reached out and talked to, who told me that, number one, they don't charge $80 an hour. They charge $60 an hour. They know exactly who this individual is because they went to school together. And this woman has never done a massage on this woman. Ever. And definitely not 4 massages per month times 4 months. So when you look at it, this individual, who's the alleged defendant in this case, all it's about is $1,280. If I gave her $1,280, she'd go away. Am I going to? No. Because, I'm a fighter. I'm going to fight back against this. I'm going to go to court. I'm going to have a trial, and I'm going to win. Because remember something. Number one, it's not even physically possible to do what's alleged. Like, if you don't believe me, try it. Have a friend come over, have them wear a skin-tight dress skirt down to their knees, and have them walk by you and try to go up and under, the thing. Hell, have them stand still and try to do it. It's not physically possible. I know this because I've had a friend put on a dress that long, that tight, and I've tried it. It's not physically possible. But for anyone that's followed me for any distance, knows I wrote a book, Raw Emotion and Political Repression, talking about the illegal actions that the state took against me years ago. A follow-up book was also almost ready to be published, but I didn't have the money to publish it, which shows what the state did after I wrote that book and filed lawsuits in the state court against state agencies, which was even crazier. But now, if you look at it, they're going after me again because everything they had filed before, fell off my Corey check. I was found not guilty on anything, right? But it still shows up in your Corey for so many years, even if you are found not guilty. So all of a sudden, as soon as everything falls off my Corey, allowing me to work in my field again, all of a sudden, these charges right here are filed. And you know something about these? ADA Parsons, Assistant District Attorney Parsons of the Hampden County District Attorney's Office, has a history of misconduct when it comes to political candidates. She's used her office to support political candidates, and as such, was cited and actually got into a lot of trouble for it. And then another political candidate who was a different political affiliation than she was physically assaulted, and she let the guy off that assaulted this guy, chipped the guy's teeth and everything. She let him off with just probation. So this is the woman who reached out to the alleged victim in this case after 5 years and said, "We would like to file these charges. Would you like us to?" And then somehow makes it where she could get $1,280 out of the deal. Kind of sounds a little bit fishy, huh? Massages that were never done, yet are claimed to have been done in order to get $1,280. And I think this is the reason why this is being done, is because if you look at it, Massachusetts has the Victims Fund, which pays out money to victims of violent crimes, such as what is claimed here. But if you get paid out of this fund, it has to be noticed. A notation has to be made to a defendant if they seek this information. But their way around it is to basically use the $1,280 here that this person is looking for in order to pay this person to be a victim/witness in this case. This isn't the first time that they've paid someone to go after me, plain and simple. Hopefully this doesn't give anyone an idea to go after me for more money, through the state, because that really would suck. But realistically, it just shows how much, this is bullshit. So, once again, if you don't believe me, try it. Try it at home. Because, I may not be a perfect person. I'm the first one to admit I'm not a perfect person. But if I did something, I do admit to what I do. If I do something wrong, I admit to it. Hell, I wrote a book, which is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly about me. I don't paint myself as a perfect person in the book. And that's a book I wrote about all the stuff that had happened years before. And I'm still not, I'm not a perfect person. But this is something I definitely did not do. This was a friend of mine who used me in order to sue a business that was firing her. So besides not besides the proof that you can't physically do what's claimed, you also have to take in consideration the fact that this individual lost all of her shifts but one shift a week a couple weeks before. And then all of a sudden, when they sued, they said that they only lost the shifts based upon the complaint that they made against me, which happened afterwards. And then you also have to look into the fact that they settled for a couple grand, which is a nuisance lawsuit settlement. And that they sued the next place that they worked for, claimed that they were underpaid while making numerous reports to the police. And each report to the police that they made, they stated that they didn't want charges filed. What they've done is they've made a history of making false allegations to the police in order to go after people for money. Once again, I'm not the first person that she's done this to. She's a convicted felon for lying to the police. Oh yeah, and also, what should be noted is on February 15th, the judge, a couple days ago, December 9th, told the assistant district attorney, that they have to summons her, to court in order to answer about the destroyed evidence. To possibly have these charges dismissed. Well, remember, I filed charges against this individual in the Palmer District Court for destruction of the evidence back in August. Why has the court not filed a motion for a show cause hearing yet? It's been how many months? There's a lot of corruption in Massachusetts. I hate to say I'm a victim, but realistically, I am a fucking victim when it comes to the state of Massachusetts. That's why I've decided to start making these videos and bringing light into the darkness of what is corruption in Massachusetts. Okay, if you have any questions, shoot them to me. I'll answer any questions that you have about anything because I'm an open book, plain and simple. The only thing is, I'm not mentioning yet, as long as these charges are still pending, I'm not mentioning the person's name because that's the only conditions that I've been released on in this case, is that I do not harass this person. I do not have contact with them. Basically, I don't have contact with them. So, in order to make sure that there's no third-party contact or anything else, I'm not mentioning the person's name. Okay. Once again, any questions, any comments, just let me know. If you want to help support my cause, support the cause of bringing awareness to corruption in Massachusetts, you can buy my book, Raw Emotion and Political Repression. You could follow me on here. You could send me, you could donate to me on PayPal, jpdonnelly8@aol.com. It'll be on the bottom of this video. And once again, thank you for your time and patience, and have a great night.